talking about video games. Yeah! Alright, hey everybody, this is the Namek vs. Sane podcast. This is episode 5. We're halfway to 10. We're 1/100th of a way to 500. This week was E3, one of the biggest weeks in gaming. I was lucky enough to go there. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, Edmund Arnold. Edmund, how are you doing?
I'm still trying to do the math in my head. Trying to carry the 2, 3, 4. I'm doing well, man. Am I doing well? No, I'm not doing well.
We were so close.
Fine. I'm doing fine.
So much grudge in your voice. What's wrong? What's eating at you?
E3 is eating at me, man.
Yeah?
E3 is eating at me. It is. Stings a little bit.
Is it stinging because it's over, or are you stinging because of what was announced at E3?
It's stinging because I feel like I didn't get enough. I didn't get enough at all. And it's over too soon because I want to see more games. But I want to hear from your perspective because I am watching from television screens and computer monitors. So I really want to hear it from someone who was there. So please tell the audience, how does it feel to break your E3 cherry?
It was painful. It's funny for me to hear you say you wanted more, because let me tell you, if you were there, I wanted so much less. My feet hurt. This is not exaggeration for radio. I walked 22 miles in the last 48 hours on that conference floor, back and forth, just seeing everything that they had. Let me tell you, it is a staggering experience when you walk in there. It is, not only is it a lot of people, but it is also... It is tight corridors. It is like serpentine, weird like queues that you go through. It is a lot of walking. What really got me about it was the spectacle of it. You know, I expected some cool designs. I didn't expect every single place that I went was just these grandiose, absolutely ridiculous booths that they had built. I saw giant dragons. I saw a waterfall. There was a ball pit.
Break it down for someone who didn't go there. How was each booth? I can't imagine how it looks. I see pictures, and did Activision have a booth, and was it set up in a specific way? Then you went over and saw Sony, and they had a booth. Like, what were some things that you saw specifically?
The best way for me to describe it is you walk into a gigantic conference hall, and when you're on the outskirts of it, you can kind of see how things are set up. As soon as you walk down the corridors created by these booths, you might as well be in a city. You feel like you're in a bazaar. That's how it felt like to me.
Really?
There's noise everywhere and people selling stuff and people excited about seeing different things. Everywhere you look is a different person being interviewed or talking on a camera or playing a new game. The gaming rigs themselves are amazing in a way that it's almost deceitful to how the game experience will actually be unless you happen to own a Forza car that you can sit in that moves when you turn the wheel and has actual pedals. Is that how you play Forza at your house? I don't.
Yes, I have a steering wheel. Oh, no. You mean the actual Forza vehicle? No, I do not play that way. Sorry. Oh. I was mistaken.
Well, then you would have been out of your depth because that was I had a lot of great experiences. As far as playing a game, that was one of the most fun for me, only because of how real it feels when you're sitting in there and it's vibrating and you're turning left and turning right and the rig is moving with you. It's pretty cool.
Like a Cruising USA type situation?
Oh my God, thank you for that throwback. Anyway, yeah, you walk in, and it's just, even before you get into the conference, you could have gone and just walked around the lobby, to be honest with you. There's so many cool things. There's this big green screen where they're doing like a photo shoot where you can be like a part of like a Sonic game. I took a photo with this gigantic, it was a Donkey Kong Rabid, the Ubisoft Rabbids.
Yeah.
It was a Donkey Kong one of those because they announced a crossover with Rabbids and Nintendo with Mario. And you could like pose in it, and it's smashing you. You can see it on my Instagram. There's that, and then you walk in, and it's just each booth has its own character, and it's kind of in line with what the studio itself is. So Activision is very much like it's the cool kids, you know. It's all like sleek blacks and wood, and it looks like an upscale like nightclub is what Activision's looked like. Then you walk over, and the smaller ones, like Yakuza 6, is like you're walking down a street in Japan, like a seedy street in Japan. It was great. With these neon lights, and you're walking on a carpet that's done up like a rain slick sidewalk. and they have characters walking around. I mean, it's really cool. Each one was done up in a different way to try and attract that type of audience to it.
It's a video game wonderland.
It was a video game wonderland. I felt like Alice, and I was wearing a blue dress, so it worked out.
Well, it felt like a video game hell from where I was watching it. So I'm glad to hear your experience.
We got a tale of two E3s right now.
Night and day, ladies and gentlemen. Night and day. Namek versus Saiyan right here.
That's right. Our title's all about conflict. There's so much anger.
Yeah, just a lot of anger from me today. So what was the favorite thing you saw? What was your favorite thing?
Are we talking games or are we talking spectacle that I saw?
Let's talk spectacle first, because we're going to get into the games. I want to hear sheer spectacle right now.
I'm going to say spectacle has to go to Shadow of Mordor without any question. Shadow of Mordor literally built a 50-foot dragon that you could sit on and ride and take your picture with. And that was part of what drew you to their booth. The other part was basically this entire castle wall that they built on a facade surrounding it. And they also had clear glass where you could see people playing the game. I don't know if these people were sanctioned, but there were people dressed like Aragorn and like orcs walking around. There's a lot of people in costume. But I don't know, Shadow of Mordor was just an overwhelmingly well-produced, gigantic booth, even compared to the other booths, which were amazing. And the very close second, I would have to say, is Super Mario Odyssey, which literally built a town and then hired actors to dress up in like His Girl Friday type outfits, wearing the fedoras and the trench coats, and they would take pictures with you. It was great.
Wow. Okay.
Also, they had a big hot air balloon, and Mario was just hanging off of it, like, "Hey, it's a me."
So it sounds like they stepped it up from previous years, because previous years it sounds like E3 was like on its way out, a barren wasteland.
It seems, and it seems to me a reason for that might be, and this is me talking to the people who were there. Again, this is my first time on the floor of E3, so I don't know how much it's changed, but apparently it has changed. Hearing it from somebody today, I spoke to a guy from Ubisoft who's been going to it since it was in Georgia when it first started in like 1995. Wow. And he was talking about how far it's come since then, how close it's getting to Comic-Con in terms of scale and spectacle. This was the first year that it was open to the public in a real sense. I think in the past you could buy like a $500 ticket, but this year it was very much open to the public. And I think they upped the spectacle because of that, because anyone, Mom and Joe, could walk into this thing and be blown away by it. And I got to tell you, I mean, it was overwhelmingly fan-driven when you were there. It is a lot of fans. And it's valuable for the people who are making the games because they're getting direct feedback from the people who are going to buy them, other than people like me who just show up, play it for free, and then like later.
That's a very good point. Because this was the first year that was open for the public, and the previous years it was just open for press.
Right.
So
those gross press people.
Yeah, the gross press people that don't put in valuable input because they never play these games. Well, the gaming sites do, the gaming reporters do, but a lot of these Hollywood reporters that show up, like Patrick Shanley, who never play these games.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's really nice to see that they opened it up to the public, and I feel like you're right. That's why they stepped it up.
I think there were people complaining about it, and it's mostly the people that have been going for years and when it used to just be press. But for me, I kind of liked watching the people enjoy it. I like watching people who are real fans. I saw more men in basketball shorts than I think I've ever seen in my entire life. But they were all having a really good time. So
that's a stereotype, but yeah, that's nice.
I'm not insulting anybody's fashion choices. I wore a Star Wars shirt, and then I wore a donut shirt today. So I have no right to talk to anybody about what they decide to wear in public.
Well, what are you playing in video games if you're not playing in your basketball shorts? I mean, as soon as I get home, I take off the pants, put on a nice pair of basketball shorts, and I get right into my PlayStation 4.
Well, see, we're different. I like to dress like whatever character I'm playing. So I'll wear basketball shorts when I'm raining threes as Steph Curry in NBA 2K7. Or 17. What year is it?
You probably would be playing NBA 2K7. Given your catalog, you'd probably be playing NBA 2K7 right now.
Well, NBA 2K7 was on the Dreamcast, so you bet your buns I'd be playing it.
Another great game.
Oh, man.
Another great game.
It's Dreamcast. Should be called the Dreamcast Appreciation Podcast.
It should be. We should change the name to that.
I'm going to. I've already decided. Yeah. From now on. Sorry, iTunes.
I think that's why I was so disappointed with E3 this year, because there are no Dreamcast reveals. I was like, where are the Dreamcast reveals?
It's weird that they don't revive more tech. They revive enough games from old systems. You think it wouldn't even be that far off. In fact, Nintendo, they did. They had the Pocket NES. Remember that? And they oversold it. They sold too many of them. They had to shut it down because they didn't produce enough.
Yeah, because that's what Nintendo does.
Maybe that's what people do. We're just so obsessed with nostalgia right now. The worse things are in your current era, the more you want to relive other eras. Even when it's an era that you weren't alive for. I wasn't alive when the NES came out. You weren't alive when the NES came out.
I think that's a white thing.
Yeah,
I don't want to go back, and there's no era that I want to go back to. So I think that's a white privilege type.
We touched on it last time because it was just when the showcase had happened. So they announced their Xbox One X, which we're not super kind to, and I still kind of hold to a lot of those feelings about it. It's just a souped-up Xbox. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But Xbox... Here's the thing. A lot of the games that I played were not exclusives to any system, really. I guess I played a couple exclusive PlayStation games. There weren't a lot of exclusive Xbox games, despite the exclusive guy who said it 1,000 times. Most of the ones that I played were cross-platform games, and they were great, even though I played them on an Xbox and on a PlayStation. They worked great on both systems. But it didn't really seem to me... Xbox had a big booth, obviously. They're right in the middle of the thing. But there wasn't as much buzz around Xbox, especially considering they were the ones who announced a new system. It wasn't like Xbox was the talk of this convention.
Who was the talk of the convention?
Dude, honestly, I would have to give it to Mario. It was so much Mario. Everyone's walking around in these red hats. And it's the most bizarre trailer I've ever seen in my life. It starts off with a dinosaur, and then you're in the middle of, like, jazz-era New York. Like, what is happening?
Can we talk about Super Mario Odyssey real quick?
Yes, please.
Because from my standpoint, that was the game of E3, and I believe a lot of people are going to say that coming out of E3.
I don't think anyone can argue against that, at least from what I saw on the floor. Mario dominated E3.
Mario dominated from the gameplay aspects that I've seen, throwing hats on different characters.
The co-op today?
The co-op I just saw that. I just saw that was released. I haven't seen any gameplay footage of it. I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Right.
That is what I like to see from Nintendo. Innovative, new types of gameplay, taking the old types of mechanics that they've mastered pretty much,
and invented in a lot of cases.
On it that makes it feel so new. It's
right.
my most anticipated game of 2017.
I'd have to give it to you. Today was the first time I've played a Switch. I've never played a Switch before. So today I got to get my hands on the controller, which is a lot smaller than the other controllers, or I grew walking from one side of the hall to the other side of the hall. I got to play...
Were you playing it in its dock mode, or were you playing it as a handheld?
I think I was playing it as a No, sorry, in stock mode, like on a television screen, not as a handheld screen. So I got to play it. I played Switch for the first time. What I got to play today, I didn't get to play Super Mario Odyssey because the lines were insane, and even the lofty members of the Hollywood Reporter could not cut the lines for Nintendo. So what does that say about them? They're pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I got to play the other Mario game, which I wanted to make fun of, honestly, and I couldn't because it was so much fun, and it's so cool and so different than any other game that was out there with either of these two franchises attached. I got to play Mario plus Rabbids.
XCOM.
It might as well be called XCOM. The actual name of the game I'm not a huge fan of. It's just like, it's so convoluted. Like, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle just seems like... It seems like there was a translation error when they came up with the title.
I love that.
You know what? I don't even care because it is the most charming, cutest, most colorful, and in a lot of ways super innovative games that I got to play at E3. It was awesome. It was one of those ones my trial ended and I was like, I want to keep going.
That makes me excited because I saw that trailer and I said I really want to get my hands on that game.
It's so cool. I was asking to do things that I was like upset with that I couldn't do when I was playing it. And they're like, oh, you just haven't unlocked that ability yet. And it's like they knew already, like the questions that people would have immediately were just like addressed by the guy who was showing me the demo. And it's so much fun, and it's like fun is the best word I can pick for it because the visuals were fun. It was funny. The characters are charming. Mario fits right in with the Rabbids, and they also make fun of the Mario franchise a lot in it. It's great. They're making fun of Princess Peach. They have Luigi, where they're making fun of Luigi the way everybody likes fun of Luigi. There's a scene in it, but when Luigi makes his first appearance, the little robot rabbit that you're with can't remember his name, and he calls him Lewin or Lewis, and everyone laughs at Luigi.
Why does everyone always just pick on Luigi? What did Luigi ever do?
He's a little brother.
Understand.
That's just the life of a little brother. Anyway, I loved Mario. Is it Mario and Rabbids or Mario plus Rabbids?
Mario plus Rabbids.
Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It was
I like
great.
the Rabbid Peach.
Oh, she's so great. She's snapping selfies the whole time. They do so much stuff with the two franchises, just mush them together. And I wanted to laugh at it, like I said, when it was announced. I was like, this is so dumb and like such an easy cash grab. And it's not. It is awesome, and they really did something innovative. The gameplay is so strangely fitting for Mario. It reminded me of Super Mario RPG in a weird way, mixed with Final Fantasy Tactics, which is like the highest praise I could give to any game because I love both of those games.
XCOM. Yeah, I saw a lot of people compare it to XCOM.
Oh, yeah, it's exactly
go
like
wrong
XCOM.
with XCOM.
Yeah, but you still have the Mario pipe action and the same familiar characters. It was great.
I'm excited. Mario won the convention, I feel like.
I feel like Nintendo just showed up and just wrecked town.
Did they?
Compared to, I don't think the competition was stiff.
Yeah, true.
But I still think
was non-existent, son. There was no competition.
Regardless, they still made a footprint for sure.
Yeah, true. Super Mario Odyssey would make that type of footprint, but when you have compared to Sony's lackluster showing,
yeah,
I mean anything would have looked good. I mean Microsoft looked good.
They just kind of seemed like afterthoughts. There wasn't a lot of buzz around them. There was buzz around titles, but the titles that there was buzz around were AAA, non-exclusive titles.
Well, you probably couldn't play any of the big games that were announced.
I played
Did you
a couple.
Metro Exodus? Was that available to play?
No, I did not.
See, so why would you go to the Microsoft booth?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, the ones I played, again, they were non-exclusives that are across, like, all platforms. So, and they were fun. I mean, I got to play Destiny 2. I was not super kind to the first Destiny, but Destiny 2 was awesome. You know, I played it already, but this was a bit more in-depth of what I got to do. And it was tight gameplay, and it was really fun. And it was, again, like it ended, and I wanted to do another match. Call of Duty, which, you know, is not your favorite, and is sort of like the frat boy game, bruh.
Yeah, bruh.
It's fun, you know, like when you're with a group of people, when you're playing a 16-on-16 match or 8-on-8 match, whatever it is, it's fun, and it's just a whole bunch of craziness, and you're throwing grenades and all that stuff. But it's nothing innovative.
Did you get some free Rockstar while you were playing it, bruh?
No, I was mainlining Rockstar pretty much the entire E3.
Oh, so sick. It's totally sick.
Totally, yeah. They gave you a visor that you had to flip upside down, and then they frosted your tips and a polo.
That sounds like Call of Duty.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, you actually do a cake stand too.
Sophisticated Call of Duty because it's Call of Duty World War II.
It's so funny because he's going to come up later in the podcast. I got to sit down with the head of Sledgehammer Games, who created this Call of Duty, Glen Schofield. I got to speak with him. It was funny. I actually met him right before I interviewed him, and I had no idea. I was eating lunch at the Activision, their little press area up top. And I sat down because there's only like one open table, and a group of guys sat down with me. And so they leave, and I realized that their passes had said Activision on it, so I assumed they worked for Activision. I come to realize that it was the three lead designers of the game and the CEO of the company that makes the game. As I go in to interview him, he's like, oh, hey, how's it going?
Did you tell them congratulations on making the 3 best Call of Duty games in the mediocre franchise?
I thought they did. I like Modern Warfare quite a bit.
Modern Warfare 3 is one of the best first-person shooters of all time.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Call of Duty gets hate for valid reasons, but it also is a pretty tight first-person shooter in a lot of their entries, and I think Sledgehammer Games is responsible for the best of the best.
Yeah, Sledgehammer Games brings it. They bring it.
This game is... I mean, it's Call of Duty. Like, you already know it before you pick it up. That being said, it was pretty badass. Like, you feel that game. It's like, when you get hit, you feel it.
I think I might pick this one up. I pick one up every time Sledgehammer does it. I liked Advanced Warfare as well. So yeah. I think the way they space out their games is approachable to me. So yeah, when I saw the gameplay, I was blown away.
The love that he poured into that game, just from the short conversation that I had from him. I mean, they did not cut corners. They had a world-class historian on staff, the guy who used to curate the World War II National Museum. They had him on staff. He's on retainer. And then he did research into his own family, found out that his grandfather had served over there. They were unearthing stories that had never been told from World War II. Just from a historical standpoint, it's interesting. It remains to be seen how much of that will come through in the game and whether or not the average Call of Duty player even cares about historical accuracy to that point. But it's neat and it's nice to see that they put in the time into a title that would have sold regardless of if they did it or not.
You really have to appreciate that.
You do, and I do.
You really have to appreciate that time and effort.
interview with Sledgehammer Games CEO Glen Schofield. Sledgehammer is responsible for the upcoming Call of Duty World War II. I recorded this conversation with Glen shortly after I'd watched a theater presentation for the new game and right before I got my hands on the never-before-played gameplay demo at E3. Here's what he had to say. Okay. I just got to watch the theater experience, which is quite a visceral thing to engage in. This is 10 years since it's been a World War II?
Just about.
Which is kind of what launched the franchise. Why now to move back?
It's kind of funny because it feels like we tap into the sort of the conscious mind out there as well, right? With what's going on in the culture. And when we finished Advanced Warfare, we wanted something new. And although we loved Advanced Warfare, our first game was Modern Warfare, the next one is Advanced Warfare. We wanted to do something in the past. And World War II it felt like with 10 years was the right time.
Right. With something like this, as opposed to the last ones that have been in the future, or using like tweaks on modern tech, I guess, now we're going back to things that existed in the past. How do you keep that fresh, especially for a series that's already been there so many times?
Yeah, I think, one of the things for me, being like Glenn was saying at Sledgehammer, one of the things I think as a development team at Sledgehammer that gives us, I think, a pretty unique position for that. If you think in 2009 when we founded Sledgehammer and we started, and we had an opportunity to make Modern Warfare 3, which was a modern setting game, and then we went to Advanced Warfare, which is future, and now to World War II. So I think we've gotten this kind of really great palette. So as a developer, that's been great because we've been able to explore all of these things. And I think with World War II, specifically to kind of your question, I think initially there was some, oh man, is this going to be limiting? Is this going to...
Yeah, we thought so.
But with the research and, especially, Glenn will send emails at, 3 in the morning and some rare website about, he's on several watch lists probably for this, I'm sure. But, we just started finding out that, holy crap, this stuff is way more depth than you might think initially. Right?
Much more than we ever thought.
Yeah. And so we've really been able to tap into that, and, with our military historians to help us along the way as well to make sure we didn't, that we didn't find some wacky, fake news somewhere or something.
Right.
But it's crazy. We're excited about that stuff, and also just how it feels. And,
Even the sound.
Yeah.
Just the difference between AW's guns and ours today. Just our. We thought we were the shit in the last game, right? But it's sorry about that. The sound has really helped. Plus, just the classic guns.
Oh yeah.
So they know the sound, the bolt action or whatever. So, yeah.
And that's such a big part of it too. Do you go out in the field with these actual antique guns to try and record that sound and make it?
Everything. We have planes fly over us. We'll go shoot off tanks, and these guys will go get howitzers. And they were telling me a story not too long ago. They were out in the desert where they were firing, and one of the guys was holding his iPad, and it went off and it shattered the iPad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really powerful and loud.
Right, I can imagine.
Don't get these events shut down now, because with these stories, we might not be doing this in the future.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Right. No more iPads. So
No, it's fine. Is it hard to track this type of stuff down, especially as we get farther and farther away from World War II? I imagine that these things start to slip into wherever they're going, or they kind of...
You mean the information?
I guess the information's part of it too, but also the actual artifacts themselves.
Oh, what we found, what I found was that in the last 10, 20 years since Private Ryan and a few of the other movies come out, that a lot of stuff has been declassified. Even more stuff. So we're going back and we're picking up, the ending of our game, which I can't tell you about, is actually a story that's only come out in the last few years. So much of World War II, at the end of the war, they wanted suppressed. We wanted the war over, man. Right? So, and we found sites that are thousands and thousands of pictures of German soldiers. Stuff they didn't have 10 years ago because they didn't have the internet. So these are sites that where people are now aggregating all the different stuff. So I think there's even more out. There's more books.
Yeah, absolutely.
More movies, more documentaries.
I think it's funny that games, they become like movies or other things, like this big massive type of entertainment that so many people are being gravitating towards. And what's great about these historical games are they're educational in a way for a lot of people and getting this information in a much different way than they used to, and also making it very visceral, so you're experiencing it in a much more real way.
Right.
Do you guys feel the weight of that? I know you had historians on your staff or consultants.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that we take. We really want to be obviously authentic and respectful about what we're doing. I think Marty Morgan, our historian, has been really great, because I think early on he said something to me that really, really stuck out, because and sometimes when you're doing this, it's an entertainment, it's a game, but, he was like, this is actually, for him, his life's work as a historian focused on World War II.
Teaching, yeah.
And so for him, he gives tours in Normandy, and so he said, after Saving Private Ryan, and even after some of the original Call of Duty games, he would get a spike in interest in people wanting to come, but then it sort of, tapers down. And so for him, he's very happy that that's in the popular conscience, right? That gets out there. And I think for us, so obviously we take it super seriously. We don't want to be gratuitous, but we want to also be authentic. And it's good because you kind of said it earlier, right? It keeps it out there, and then hopefully there's someone playing it that then wants to go pick up a book and learn more about what's happening here. Right?
I mean, every detail is. I'll give you an example. Right? We're working with Marty, and I'll say, Marty, I need a train that was somewhere in Marinay or somewhere in that region in 1945, let's say June through July. And I need important trains. Don't give me 4 different trains. And so, we'll pick out a train, and we'll pick out a car, we'll pick out, we'll find out the Luftwaffe wasn't here at this point, so we wouldn't have the planes flying. Everything we try to do is as authentic as possible. It is entertainment, but there's no doubt that at the end of it, we would love people to walk away and have a much greater knowledge of World War II.
Right.
And they wouldn't be lying from what they learned.
And it seems like in order to do that, you're going to have a pretty great historian that you're consulting with. What's the process of finding someone like that? Did you get a whole bunch of applications for people, or?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know we worked through a bunch of them. I wasn't that involved in that process, but I certainly.
Marty Marty's name get floated. Marty was the ex-curator of the World War II Museum, the National World War II Museum. So he's on a payroll now. And so we just call him, and boom, get it. Marty even took me and Condrey, Michael, out. We did a 8 or 9 day tour from Luxembourg in a van in the middle of the winter, man. Some places 4 foot of snow. We're up in places we didn't see a car for like 2-3 hours. We're falling in foxholes where it was crazy. It was really, and the thing is that we would find in the middle of the woods, you'd find a plaque where you'd find, it's really, really memorialized in some places, especially Belgium,
right,
where they really are still. The war was the biggest, most important thing that happened to them.
Right, and it's funny to think, like you mentioned earlier, that we like to think that we're never going to forget about something like this, but making games like this, telling stories like that, telling stories like the story you just told, it keeps it alive, and it keeps it alive for further generations.
Yeah.
So.
And we're keeping, we're not shying away from the racism that happened back then. We're not shying away from the sexism and things that we're not blatantly putting in it, but that's what happened. And then so we're not shying away from any of that, and because it was a tough time, man. A tough time.
Oh, I hate to make this segue, but it's for Hollywood. With someone like Josh Duhamel in the game, you have an A-list movie star in this game. Is that something that is happening more and more in games, you guys feel? Was he a fan of the game? Did you reach out to him? How did that process come together?
That's a good question, because Josh is a bit of an anomaly in that, not anomaly, but his one of the casting agents knows him and knew he was such a big fan, and at the same point we loved him as our guy, and so we put this ensemble cast together, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and they have grown together. And they act like the two. We take them out to dinner. He acts like the head of it. It's
I love
really great. To see them gel like that. You can see it in the camera, on the game as well. It's just great.
Do you have them in the mocap suits? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There are a lot of mocap, a lot of most of it is performance capture now. We call it mocap. But the story alone took a couple of years.
How involved are you in the story?
I'm heavily involved.
Okay.
Yes.
So writing something like a game where a lot of it is, I mean, some of it is streamlined, you're going through different set pieces and stuff, but it's also a game. I'm in control of parts of it. Is it hard to make, different branching, to have that all in mind, the way a story might branch out in a way that other mediums do not? How much of that is taken into account when you first start the project?
Ton of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of, that's at the core, I think, of what game development really kind of is. It's figuring out how to tell these great narratives, but also give a lot of choice and have players actually really leave that experience going, wow, that was either intense or exciting or scary or
yeah. I can remember we had it when we finally met with the executives down at Activision, and these discussions are going on and off, and we all decided, World War II is it. It's just all high five and everything. Everybody walks out of the room and go, that's cool, World War II. It's my job and the team's job to go back and go, what part of World War II? And so that's where it starts. You start with heavy-duty research.
Right.
And so one thing we knew was we want to tell a story of a platoon or a squad from start to finish.
Right.
So we needed to find a good group that had worked together for a long time, and that was the fighting first. And then so we started with that, and that's build your story.
Does that make it easier as a storyteller, or is it more difficult as a storyteller to work off something that something that actually happened, as opposed to telling a story in the future where you're working with a clean slate, or a cleaner slate at least?
They're both equally as hard. Yeah, but they're great creative challenges. One is creating the future, right? What does it look like? And you got to study. Right. And the other is recreating the past, which you got to study just as much, if not more, right? Because we can make up the sounds for the future. We can make up the some of the stuff, but for the past, we don't make that.
Right. I love that. I think that's what makes the game as good as it is. You feel it.
Good, man. Thank you. It's a very personal game for us. All of us have had grandparents or great-grandparents or somebody in the war, so I don't know. It feels like as we got more and more into it, you got more and more. I started seeing pictures of grandfathers on people's desks, that sort of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. I hung up my grandfather's picture.
Oh, was he overseas?
Yeah, matter of fact, he was from the UK, and he came over in the 20s. And when they started bombing London, he joined the American military.
Man, that's
and so he went over and fought in Italy and lost his leg. He got a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star for saving a couple platoons. And so he would tell the stories to my dad, and my dad would tell me the stories. But then my dad died in the middle of making the game, so we named the main character after him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ronald Red is my dad's name.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's a nice way to honor him.
I hate to cut in, but Glenn, you are needed.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Sorry.
A title that I really, really enjoyed. It's called Everybody's Golf. And
I did see something on that, but I was like, oh, it's golf. I'm not going to look at this.
So I won it up, right? I played it as I was waiting to play another game, and it was awesome. I also played a crazy little game called Matterfall. Okay, so Matterfall is this weird side-scrolling game that, it is so alien in controls that it actually takes a while and it's frustrating. And then as soon as you get it, it is so freaking badass. It is this crazy Metroid-esque side-scrolling game that you play with the bumper, like the L1, L2, those types of controls. And it takes a while, and then as soon as you get it and it clicks, it is just like this streamlined, super awesome game, and I loved it.
This looks like, the creators of Resogun did this. Wow. Okay. You sparked my interest. This looks like a Contra-type video game. I don't know if you've ever played Resogun.
Oh my God, I haven't, but I have played Contra. And that's exactly what it's like. And it's just, the reason I bring it up is that these were like hidden gem games, like these little tiny games that nobody...
This looks fantastic.
No, it was so great and super fun.
Yeah, everyone listening, go check out Matterfall. This gameplay footage is really good. All right, so what, did you play any other indies?
Yeah, I played a couple VR.
What are you withholding from us?
Yeah, they're all upstairs. I played a couple. The ones that stand out for me, other than the ones I just mentioned, were VR titles, and I know that you're not going to like that, but I know. I don't even like that I like it. But
all
okay,
right, here we go.
I played. Okay, there's this game. It's called Space Junkies. It's coming out next spring. It's from Ubisoft, and I don't know. I don't like VR. I was going to come on here. I played it this morning, and up until then, I was going to come on here and just blast VR because it hurts my neck. The stupid headsets do. This game, you get to move completely around. I'm in control. It's not a rail shooter. I'm not on a rail, so I get to move around however I want to. The care that they put into how you grab a gun, I can spin around in circles and grab it out of the air. You have to be holding onto the gun to shoot it. You have two-handed guns, and you have to aim with two hands. You have a shield, but then you can also use like your lightsaber sword at the same time. And we played 2-on-2 Battle Royale, floating around in space, bouncing off of asteroids, hitting each other. It was... I'm going to have to give it to that. That was the most fun I've had at E3.
Would you be able to play that game for a long, extended period of time, or is it just one of those things where you're just like, oh, played it, had a great time, never going back to that again?
So I played one like that. I played a little dodgeball game that was basically just to show off, like, this is how VR would work. And that one, I was like, that's fun, I'm done, I never need to do it again. Space Junkies, as soon as it was done, I did not want to take the headset off, and I will buy it on launch day, because it was... I think it's the most realized version of a VR game that I have seen so far, in which, look, you can move in any direction you want. You really feel like you're floating in space. And I was sitting in a chair while I did it. And it was just amazing. It felt like when I was holding the gun, it felt like I was holding a gun. We were giving each other high fives and like thumbs up, pointing at each other. It was awesome. It was really like being in that world, which is what VR is supposed to be.
Would you buy a PlayStation VR headset after playing that game? Is it enough to sell it to me?
No, for the reason that it's not on PlayStation, which was a conversation that we had. It is going to be for Oculus Vive and whatever the other one is. It's skipping from my mind right now. But no, apparently they were having trouble with the PlayStation controllers because the PlayStation uses a wand for their VR, and this is more the handheld controller. And that's really important for this type of shooter because they did it correctly and it really feels like guns, so it wouldn't work with the wand quite as well. But I would buy it. I honestly would. I never in a million years thought I would say that, but I do.
I don't want to play Skyrim in a headset. That just does not sound appealing to me at all. I don't want to play Fallout 4 in a headset. I don't want something on my head while I'm playing video games, and I wear glasses anyway.
Yeah.
So I just don't... man, it's not appealing to me.
I
wouldn't be able to do it.
We're now living in a timeline where your video game system can bully you and smash your glasses against your head.
Like, hey, you're going to sit here and you're going to play me.
All right, Eddie, I'm going to turn the tables on you. You weren't there, so you have a less... I honestly think this. I think you have a more pure opinion just from seeing the trailers. Because I get swayed. I'm playing these things on these massive 4K like TVs and being led around like I'm the queen of Pope Island to play these games. You were not there, so you are going into it completely off of what was shown to you. What stood out for you at E3, other than Super Mario Odyssey, because I know that's where you're going to go.
I want to call Insomniac Games and tell them that I love them and I want them to raise my child, because if it wasn't for Spider-Man, I don't know what I would have done to E3. Spider-Man was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gameplay trailer. It looked like Arkham. I'm sorry, I should know how to say this. Arkham Asylum.
What kind of nerd are you?
I know I'm a horrible, horrible, horrible nerd, but Arkham Asylum meets. I don't even know. It was just, you had your QuickTime events. Mm-hmm. The trailer was one of my favorite Spider-Man moments I think I've seen in the last 5 to 10 years. And it just, everything, the way he was interacting with the environment, the way the button prompts kind of annoyed me. I don't know how I feel about that playing the game.
Yeah, but you're a God of War fan, and those were a part of God of War.
I'm not a God of War fan. I don't know why you misjudged me like that.
I thought you had eyes and ears and hands and were a human being.
No, I think the God of War franchise is very, very overrated.
I despise you.
Well, I'm used to it.
Namec versus Say.
But the combat in Spider-Man looked very good. I'm very excited. I'm going to keep my eyes on that. I'll probably buy that launch day. Sony, like I said, was lackluster. There was nothing very exciting. I will say that God of War, that trailer, it did it for me. I liked how
was it the
sure
beard?
The plot looked. It was the beard, and it was kind of like that little kid, his son. His son kind of sold it to me. I like children in video games.
My favorite thing maybe to come out of E3 was the Dad of War hashtag on Twitter.
It was great. He was like this mean, hardcore dad that just had no love for his kid.
Yeah.
It's just,
it just hits so close to home.
Not for me. My father loves me.
I have a wonderful father. I don't know why.
Both of our fathers love us. I don't know what you're talking
about. I meant the beard. My dad has a beard.
Your dad had an awesome beard.
He's got a great beard.
Yeah, but the World Serpent, epic.
Also had a beard.
Did it?
Yeah, a little bit, like a little goatee. And he spoke some weird language. I love that he wasn't a villain. I love that Kratos is ready to just rip its eyeballs out. And it's like, oh, what's up, guys?
That was my favorite part of the trailer, is Kratos just getting back ready to just kill this thing, telling his son to brace himself. And this big Master Serpent's like, nah, I want to help y'all out.
He's like, howdy, friends.
We friends. I don't want to fight.
Come along on a magic journey.
Jesse Williams made a surprise appearance at the E3, which was kind of cool. Was that Jesse Williams in Detroit Beyond Human, or am I tripping?
It's definitely Jesse Williams. You can't hide those eyes.
Yeah.
They stare into my soul.
Beautiful man.
He is a beautiful man.
Yes, it's Jesse Williams. I found it. Yeah, Marcus is played by Jesse Williams.
There we go.
I am excited for that game because I loved Heavy Rain, and I want more stuff by Quantic Dream, so I am going to pick that up.
There you go.
But other than that, Nintendo came. Everybody was excited about Nintendo. I was kind of like, nah. We're getting another Kirby Yoshi 2D platformer. I just, if you're going to do something with Kirby and you're going to do something with Yoshi, do something innovative like Super Mario Odyssey or The Legend of Zelda. Like, you have a brand new system. I'm looking at Kirby and Yoshi. I'm like, you know what? These should have been Wii U launch titles, but now you're pumping them out on Nintendo Switch and wanting me to be excited about that in 2018? Come on now. And then they come out and say, oh, we have Metroid Prime 4 coming out, no gameplay footage, and people are going excited about that. Like,
okay, that was such an unbelievable reaction to that I wrote an article about it because of how bizarre it was. You are just inundated with gameplay trailers and all this stuff, and Nintendo just throws up a poster. Like a poster with the Samus isn't even on it. It just says Metroid Prime 4, and everyone loses their mind. I saw grown people jumping out of buildings.
People have been asking for this game for years. It's similar to Beyond. What is that? Beyond Evil. What is that game
Beyond
called?
Good and Evil?
Yeah, Beyond Good and Evil.
Right,
2.
which also blew up the entire world.
Level. Yeah, because people are just like, they ask for it, and the E3 finally announces that it's going to come out, and we have no idea when it's going to come out.
It felt like, as a Square Enix fanboy, it felt like how every year Square Enix shows up, and they're like, Final Fantasy VII's getting a remake. And everyone's just like, oh my god, it's finally happening. And then 3 years later, they make the exact same announcement. Everyone's like, no, this time, this is it.
Or like what Sony did to me last year, and they're like, oh yeah, Shenmue 3 is finally coming out. We're finally going to give you Shenmue fans what you've been asking for and clamoring for, the ending of the series. And then it just like disappears.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything on this game. Metroid Prime 4, I believe that Nintendo's probably going to deliver on it because...
Nintendo tends to deliver.
When did Metroid Prime 3 come out? That was back in
2007, 2008. Yeah. So it's been a good decade.
So we're ready. And then, Nintendo announces Rocket League, which should have probably been a debut title on Nintendo Switch.
How much am I missing out on by not playing Rocket League? Because it kind of seems like the most fun thing in the world, but at the same time, it's also soccer, which is stupid. So
Rocket League is one of the greatest innovative creations that America has seen in ever.
Since the Bagel Dog.
It is the greatest sport created. It is better than basketball. It is greater than football. It is the best thing. I can't believe you haven't played Rocket League.
It seems like something I would play. It's also something I kind of want in real life. Like if a whole bunch of monster truck drivers were batting around a gigantic exercise ball.
Rocket League was some of the most fun I think I've had in a video game in years. And it caused me an injury because I actually hurt my shoulder in the way that I was like playing this game. I'm kidding you not.
You should never repeat that.
I had shoulder issues for a good 3 months after playing this game hardcore.
Did you have the good grace to lie about how you injured your shoulder?
No, I would tell people I was playing Rocket League.
It was a sporting related incident. You could have just lied and said it was soccer.
No, it was Rocket League because as soon as you play Rocket League, you'll be like, oh, I get it. I get it. it will click like you'll get it.
Like your shoulder. Yeah.
Play Rocket League before I punch you in your face. Yeah,
I'm glad you don't live in this city.
I'm so upset with you right now. Namek versus saying you should need to go play Rocket League.
We are living up to the title today.
We are.
Such a divisive episode.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's how I feel. I feel like E3 let me down. I have some games that I'm going to be looking out for, but overall, I wish I was there to get my hands on some of these games.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear that it let you down, because I had a good experience. Most of it was just from being at the event itself and meeting some pretty great people. The very first game that I played was Yakuza 6, and I played it because I walked by it and I had time to kill until an appointment that I had. So I was in line for a game that I only knew about because you texted me to tell me to check it out.
I did.
And I'm in line next to this dude who, let's just call him a super fan of video games in general, but specifically Yakuza. And I just turn to him innocently, and I go, hey, is this game any good? And he goes, for like the entirety of my wait, just running me through the Yakuza timeline and the different characters from other games and all the mini games I'm going to play and blah, blah, blah. I really felt that I knew the franchise by the time I got to the end of the line and started to play it.
I wish I would have met this guy. Oh my gosh,
He's
like the luckiest dude
sir.
ever.
And then he just walked off into the sunset.
Did you get his name? Can we call him for an interview?
No, but I'm sure if we put Yakuza hashtag onto this, you'll find it.
How was Yakuza? That is one of my favorite franchises. How was that game?
Let me sum it up in one sentence. I smashed a guy in the face with a bicycle, and then I did squats.
Yes.
If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know. Oh, there were so many minigame activities. I feel like half the game is minigames.
Yeah, that's what's the best about. I played recently Yakuza 5. I released this year. I've maybe put maybe 40, 45 hours into that game.
Yeesh.
I barely did any plot because I was mostly bowling and playing pool.
It's it's like the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas or the Grand Theft Auto 4 where you just go bowling with Nico instead of, becoming a mob boss. Like, being a mob boss is great, but bowling with your cousin, that's a simulator that I want.
I mean, they have a real estate engine in Yakuza 5 where you're literally buying real estate in Japan and making money off of it. It's fantastic, so I'm glad you got to play Yakuza 6.
I do it for you. I do it for love, and I do it for everybody out there, especially you, mysterious Yakuza 6 fan. God bless you, sir.
God bless you, sir.
A true American hero, or Japanese hero.
Oh, man, I wish I would have met this guy. And I misspoke. It was Yakuza 0, not Yakuza 5.
Yes.
So I apologize. I should know this franchise better many hours as I put into it.
Yeah. Well, you're not a super fan like the guy that I met, so I'm starting a podcast with him.
So, Patrick, I'm interested. I'm going to ask you another question because I'm taking the role of the reporter tonight.
Hit me!
You talked about that wonderful man. What was the atmosphere like at E3? How were the people? Was it friendly? Could you sense the excitement around? Were people, nudging against each other to get a shot at their games that they want? How was it? It was in Southern California, right?
It was. So take this with a grain of salt. People were respectful for LA. I was not shoved once, which I expected to have happen a lot. I had someone tell me, this is stereotyping again, and it was true of one event that I went to and then not for other ones, that smell might be an issue. And to be fair, that is not just true of a video game convention. That is true of humanity. If you're around enough people, it's going to smell. Right. I didn't have any of that at all. I found it easy to get water and refreshments. I thought the people who I met in a professional capacity were incredibly nice to me. I don't know how much of that has to do with my outlet as opposed to me as a person. But I also had just random conversations with fans walking around. I would ask people, just genuinely, I went into it like an idiot. I basically probably looked like the dumbest person in the world. I looked like every German tourist at the Grand Canyon is what I looked like. I had socks and sandals. I had a big, old flashbulb camera around my neck. And I just asked people, hey, what's this game? Tell me about this game. And they would. And they would. Like, why would you? I wouldn't tell anybody about anything.
You need to take me with you next time.
You should. I need a Sherpa.
Yeah, you need to take me with you. I would have guided your way. Like, nah, you don't want anything with them. Get away. Stay away from them. Come over here.
You know what my overwhelming feeling was when I was there? Was, this is sad. Hello, darkness, my friend. Was that I was lonely because I was surrounded by these wonderful friendships. People came with their friends. That's what it was mostly like. It was groups of friends.
The gaming community brings people together like nothing I've seen before. It does.
It does in a lot of ways, yeah.
It pushes people away in a lot of ways, but it does bring people together in certain capacities.
I did see that, and it's also fun to see any people who are serious fans of anything because it warms the cockles of my heart. Is that a part of your heart?
I guess. I don't know. I'm not a heart surgeon.
No, that's true. You probably wouldn't be doing this podcast if you were
be
successful in any way at all.
With my supermodel blonde wife.
Well, it's radio. Nobody can disprove that.
Yeah, that's true. So, top 3 things you liked about E3. Top 3 games, top 3 experiences. That's 6. Let's just get it down to 3.
Okay. For me, I'm going to do them in reverse order, so I'll end with my favorite part of E3.
Oh, I like it.
Okay. And I'm going to keep them game-related, not other things, because I ate a pretty great sandwich while I was there. It was
I like good sandwiches.
It was such a good sandwich. It was on a potato bun. It was top notch. Way to go, Activision. You make one heck of a sandwich.
Sandwiches are the best food.
It's a self-contained food.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to have to do it. Number 3 for me was Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Has to be number 3. I know. It sounds crazy even coming out of my mouth, but it was awesome. I loved it. Just the gameplay, the way it looked, how different it was from everything, how naturally you see Mario and you automatically hit A to jump, and that's not what happens in this game, and just like how much that screwed my mind up was crazy. Number 2, I'm gonna split it because I don't want to just give it to this because it's not enough of a game to warrant being number 2 on a list with so many other games on it. So I'm going to do a split between Space Junkies, which is a VR game from Ubisoft, which I thought was phenomenal and the best representation of what VR can do for me. But I'm also going to split it with what I thought was my favorite shooter that I played at the event, and that is going to Destiny 2, which I thought was great.
Whoa.
I know it's kind of boring to do something like Destiny 2 as like, oh, what was the best game? Like, oh, this massive game that everybody knows about. But Destiny 2 was awesome. It was great. It was super fast. It was like a new gameplay mode that you got to do. The people that I played it with weren't good, so I got a couple kills. I was really excited. They gave me a t-shirt. All good things.
You got some swag.
I got a lot of swag. I got so much stupid crap that I'm never going to use.
Nice.
Also, we should start doing this. Let's do it. We'll do a giveaway this week. The person whose comment I like the most on our podcast, I will send you a PS4 controller.
What the hell? You could have sent me the PS4 controller. Screw these people.
Yeah, I don't like you though.
Oh.
And honestly, nothing you say entertains me that much.
Wow.
Back to my list. Number 1, drum roll, please. Oh, this is hard. You're not gonna like this. My number 1 is Skull and Bones. It is a pirate game. It is a pirate game. It is a multiplayer pirate game in which you control your own ship, and it was the best game that I played. It was all the best parts of Assassin's Creed Black Flag without all the terrible parts of Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
There were no terrible parts of Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Well, then you will love this game. This was so much fun. It was the best. It was a 6-on-6, a 7-on-6 battle between you captain your own boat, and you get to board other people's boats and blow them up. You have special abilities. You have different boats to choose from. You get chased by an armada. You have to loot things. It was so much fun and so completely different than other multiplayer experiences, which are becoming more and more just like, oh, it's another round of capture the flag and a shooter.
They're getting more diverse, but yeah, you're right.
Well, this is leading that charge.
Yeah. They are getting more diverse, but interesting list.
It is an odd list. I had an eclectic mix of things that I saw. And I didn't get to see everything. I'm going to flip it on you. What were your 3 favorites from E3? If you don't want to do favorites, what are your 3 biggest reactions? Let's do it that way. They can be negative or positive. What made you feel the most from E3? What got you down in your plums?
All right, we're going to go with number 3. Shadow of Colossus got me excited as hell.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know it's a remake of a remake. I know. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm firmly against remakes. I'm firmly against remasters. But Shadow of Colossus is the game of all games. It is possibly the greatest game of all time, next to The Witcher 3.
Ooh.
Yes, I love the Shadow of Colossus. So when I saw that, at first I got really excited. I think I texted you like, "Oh, Shadow of Colossus!" Oh. I think growing up, you and I were the only people that ever played this game. I think you played it way before me. I think you played it on PS2.
Yeah, my dad bought it for me randomly because he thought it was something I would like.
I think that's the one moment where I respected you. I was like, "Oh, this guy plays games."
That's
all
it.
Right,
and
Shadow of Colossus.
In 14 years of friendship, one moment stands out, and it's because my dad bought me a video game.
Yep, that right there.
Makes sense.
Yes, that is number 3 for me.
Got it.
Number 2, I'm just gonna stay positive right now.
Ooh,
Spider-Man. Okay, I'm gonna tied for 2 because number 1's gonna be my disappointment.
Okay.
Spider-Man and Super Mario Odyssey. I can't put Spider-Man on the same level as Super Mario Odyssey because Super Mario Odyssey was just
right.
That game. That game. Gives me some shivers. I'm excited for it. And Spider-Man, I was looking at it and I was like, all right, that's a game that I'm going to pick up. That's a game I'm going to follow. Insomniac never disappoints. So yes, excitement, love, whatever you want to hear, my heart was warm.
I love all this positive energy. I'm feeling good.
Here comes for the negatives.
Uh-oh.
So, number 1, disappointment, I guess. I just felt a massive sense of disappointment. I got no Smash Brothers. I got no Animal Crossing. I didn't get any word on a new Sucker Punch IP. I didn't see any Last of Us 2. I know a lot of people were happy about that. They're like, "Oh, we don't need to see that." Well, I didn't see any Last of Us 2. I wanted to see no Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, which I kind of expected.
No Shenmue 3. So, there's a lot of games that no Death Stranding. So there's a lot of games that I wanted to see that I got nothing. And these were all big games that were announced last year at E3. So I'm just kind of like, what are you guys doing to me right now? So, yes, I was very disappointed. E3 does this every year. They announce these big games and they don't deliver.
Right.
They don't deliver. So, I saw some games that I'm excited about, but I'm walking away from it a little apprehensive. I have games to play. I don't need E3 to make me excited. 2017, 2016 are the year for games. So we're in a golden age, just like in television.
Yeah, well, live it up. I just want to give a shout out again to a lot of the people who have been listening. It's cool. This was a neat one for me this past week because this was the first podcast that we did not also have coverage on for the Hollywood Reporter. We still had a decent showing, at least in the terms of our old podcasts. So thank you for everyone who's listening or anyone who continues to listen. We are now on iTunes, which is exciting. Woo!
Yes, so if you are on iTunes podcast, look up Namek vs. Saiyan. Please, please, please leave a review, whether you like it or not. We would greatly appreciate it.
Tell your friends, share it, blah, 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 all the same stuff that every person on the internet says. But truthfully, we like doing this, and I'll do this if people don't listen to it. I don't care. I talk to anybody.
It's a good stress relief, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Just talking to your buddy about video games. What else is life
I love
about?
it.
Other than making money and not dying.
That's true. So yeah, do you think we're gonna go back to the new format next week? Gonna get back to the nitty gritty?
Yes, we will be scouring the interwebs for the latest in video game news, and then we will give our own opinions on it and act like they're facts.
Yes, and we will bring you our dated reviews. We should knock out some reviews next week.
Yeah, I'm just left Rabinaster in Final Fantasy XII, which is the first stage of that game.
So, Patrick is going to bring you a hot press next week. I am working my way through Horizon.
Nice.
And I really need to tell you, I'm glad I'm playing that game during E3 because, like I said in the previous podcast, that was one of those games that I saw on E3, and when I got it into my hands, it felt like the first time I saw the gameplay trailer. That game is still surprising me. That is a wonderful, close to my game of the year. Might be my game of the year next to Zelda. So, Yeah, Horizon. I will be bringing hopefully a review next week. Actually, for sure a review next week.
Look forward to that. Else. And again, I just want to reiterate the contest that I declared earlier, and I'm sticking to. If you leave a comment and I like the comment, I'll give it to somebody, but whatever I think the best comment is, I will send you a free PS4 controller. I won't send it to Eddie. I will send it to you.
I'm going to create an account just so I can comment on it. I want that controller.
Do you know who's great? Pat, and not Eddie. I'll be like, yeah, no, that guy's making a lot of good points.
Yeah. We love him. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you, everybody. We love you.
Thank you.
Talking about video games.